This is the biggest structure I've ever built in Minecraft. And right now, it does absolutely nothing. But by the end of this series, this is going to power my entire world, and eventually generate antimatter. So today, we're building the foundation of something massive. By the end of this video, I want to finish the entire outer structure and start prepping it for power. So, we've got a little bit of a problem. Maybe. I want to get this done. That requires us to do all of these resources, right? You know, crafting the resources, it's just crafting, right? Sure, it'll take a little while, but no big deal. The issue is with the schematic cannon, the chests, from what I've seen anyways, and what I've tested, have to be touching it. Like I tried putting one here and it didn't recognize there was materials. I tried putting one here, didn't recognize there was materials. With the materials that we do have, we're already using, 3/4 of our storage. And we could get one more right here, right? If we can't put all of our resources in here and we fire the schematic cannon, I mean, what's going to happen? Can I just do it in multiple instances, I guess? Load all the chests up, fire, load all the chests up again, fire. Or is that just going to mess everything up? I'm not entirely sure. So we are going to find out. In the meantime, let's work on, let's just start at the top here. Black stained glass, 224. And we know we have black dye over here. If I can just... Okay, there's 30 black dye. We'll start with what we have. So let's say that plus that is not how you make it. Black stained glass. We will make 3 stacks. And how does our sand situation look? Not good. So we'll need more sand and for our stained glass. But for now, we can see this isn't going to get us all the way, but it'll get us a little bit of the ways. So put that in there, put the checklist in, and there we go. And now we need 32. So not too bad. Let's grab some more sand, and then we will finish off the glass. And just like magic, our containers, or chests, I guess, are all filled up. What should happen, according to Google, is that it'll just stop and wait for us to fill up the chests again once it reaches a point where it's out of materials. Okay, so let's grab some gunpowder. I think we should be okay. I'm a little nervous about this, but we should be fine. I think we just go for it and hope everything works out. Oh, okay, there's nothing left to do except go. So... and there it goes. Okay. Okay, good. So it's partially sunk down in there, which is what we want. It should be starting right at the bottom. Okay. So I'm going to get a good vantage point here and we'll speed this up and we can just kind of watch it go as a time lapse. So enjoy. Look at how crazy that is. And it's not even like done. So you can see from here, part of the issue that we ran into is we are missing blocks in lots of places. And I knew that was going to happen because the schematic cannon couldn't like hold anymore in its chests. But I thought it would just pause and then let me refill the chests and then, fill in what's left. But nope, it didn't do that. Google lied to me. It simply spit out the empty schematic, and that was it. So luckily though, we do have our checklist that we did like right before we started the cannon, so we know what we have left. So I've got two ideas. One, we get the rest of the materials and just kind of build it, fill in the rest by hand. Option two is we make another schematic and try and position the new one exactly where this one currently is, and then just fill in the rest of what we have in the chests and then tell it to skip missing blocks, and then hopefully that would just fill in the blank spots. That one sounds like it would be a lot less work if it does work how it's supposed to. So we're going to try that. And if all else fails, then I guess we'll build it by hand. I really don't want to do that though. Okay, so let's put down our table thing here, and we're going to load up the monolith again. So we have this again. Now we just need to try and position it in the same spot. And then we'll try and push it back just lined up. I think would be like that. And then we'll have to scooch it over a little bit. Essentially going to line up this thing that's already built. So let's bring you up one, back one, and then over. Now that should be in the exact same position. See, it's kind of freaking out, but that looks good. Now that we've got that positioned how we want, let's load it back up into here, and it's ready to go. Okay, I'm just gonna really hope that this works. For some reason, it didn't pull from this like orange chest in front. I don't know the reasoning behind that, so we'll just put everything in these three chests that we know it did pull from, and then we'll try and fire this bad boy up again. So I will be right back. Okay, so we learned last time that it didn't detect anything in this chest, but in these other ones, you can see we have all the frames, smooth stone, stairs, everything else we could need. We've got the last little bit of stuff, so let's put in our gray wool, and we definitely don't have enough for the black. So I think we need like 11 or 12 stacks. That's only 9. So we might have to place it a third time and just get the rest of the wool that way. But no big deal. We've already got it, so won't really be that difficult or anything. Let's just fire this thing up then, and we should be all set. We placed the schematic already. We still have gunpowder. Off it goes. Let's make sure everything's going in the right places here. I think it is. It's hard to tell. Yeah, it's closing up. It's closing up the gaps. Perfect. So we did line it up correctly. Now all that's left is to wait and see how far it gets. Oh, and you can see, look, it's even placing the slopes correctly this time. So yes, everything's working good. I was kind of worried, but it all worked out. But yeah, since we did the time lapse of, the main portion of this is kind of just filling in the cracks, as you can see. So not going to be as cool on a time lapse. So I think I'll just go ahead, and it should be filling in. Once it gets up here, it should be filling on all these blank spaces. But I'll go ahead and skip to when this is done. Like I said, we saw the majority of it, but now we'll get to see the actual like details and things like that. So I will be right back. All right. The cannon just finished things up here, and you can see that things are looking a bit different. Let me just clear out the inventory here for a second. Got all of the framed pieces put in, and it goes all the way up on all sides of this thing. And oh, actually we are missing some still. Yeah, this is looking pretty sweet. I will need to go through and click on each of these blocks what kind of texture I want it to have, but it is going to look pretty sweet when it's done. I'll give you a little tour of the inside here. So I'm planning on building some grand like staircase down to here, and then maybe this connects to a bridge that goes all the way across. But for now, we'll fly in, and you walk in, and you've got this first room here, and this is where our SPS chamber, or not SPS, our, what's it called? It stores all the power. You know what I'm talking about. Power holder. Induction chamber. That's what it's called. I think it's called, or the induction matrix. That's what it is. So that's the induction matrix goes here. We'll have to put in the beacon first, because then we're going to build on top of it. And then you can see over here, we go up our stairs. Up here, you get a clear shot down to the middle. And this is just going to stay open, which continues, kind of hard to see, up into here. We have some like black stained glass that fills the floor in here, but there's also an opening right here. So what I'm imagining for this area is either up in here or hovering in between this like glass ceiling and this floor that I'm standing on, we would put the SPS chamber. But essentially, it's kind of the last step in Mekanism. But it's the last step in Mekanism for the most part, and the whole reason we're doing this is because the SPS chamber will allow us to make antimatter. Now, with antimatter, we can take an antimatter pellet and use that for some of our upgrades for our mech suit that we're wearing. And specifically, we need it for our elytra upgrade. So we'll be able to essentially fuse the elytra with the mech suit body armor and fly around like normal without sacrificing any armor or anything like that. But we only need one antimatter pellet. So all of this whole thing and the chamber and everything is just for a single antimatter pellet so we can put our elytra on. So if we grab a single smooth stone block and we come up to one of these, you can just click and it takes that like texture essentially of the block, but it puts it in a different like orientation. So that is what I'm going to go through and do to all of this. And it's going to take a little while, especially since that just consumed my block. I thought it wasn't supposed to, but might be remembering wrong. So I'm going to need to make a bunch more smooth stone probably, but that is what I'm going to work on. And looks like I'm missing just a few of these over here. So just a little bit of polishing up, and I'll figure out these floating lanterns and everything. But the next time you see me, this build will be completely finished. So I'll see you in a second. And just like that, the monolith is complete. Take a look at this. Dun, dun, dun. Wow. It is massive. We get on up here. I'll take you through the last pieces. So we got all of these filled in, and everything along the edges here are all iron blocks. And those wrap around the base and go up through the center. There's some up here for a little variation. And then I kind of liked having these like cutouts. So I dotted those around the structure as well as this kind of glowing glass going straight through. Inside, things are about the same, except around the base here and on the walls, we have all of our iron blocks put in. So the build is complete. And I should show you something else too back at the factory. So since we were needing so much iron, I was moving my digital miner around all over the place to dig up as much as I could, and it was still just taking so long. And so I was like, okay, I know there's a way with Mekanism where I can like double the ores or triple them or whatever. And I just really hadn't done anything with that yet because I hadn't really needed to. But I did get set up with tripling the ores. So let me show you real quick. In here, we take our ores and dump them into this chest. They get sucked in. You can see them flying into purification chamber, where they get purified into clumps. You then take the clumps, let me grab some iron here, over to the crusher and drop those in, and those get crushed into dirty iron dust. Once you have the dirty iron dust, you drop it into the enriching factory, which gives you regular iron dust. You take regular iron dust, put it in here, and it smelts it into ingots. So yeah, and that triples all of the ore that we started with. And that has been, that was a game changer for when I was trying to get all those iron blocks for the build. That really, really sped things up. So, glad that's set up. Now we can probably set up an actual like dedicated ore tripling in this room. I don't necessarily need these gas burning generators anymore, and I accidentally got the pipes mixed up too with oxygen instead of, I think it was like hydrogen or ethylene or something that they needed, but we don't really need them anymore. So I could remove this and actually set up some dedicated stuff over here because we have all this unused space, so might as well put it to some sort of use. I do have one more thing that I want to check on, and that would be the quantum entangloporter. So these guys. Refined obsidian ingots we would need. I'm thinking that if these work how I think they work, then we could just drop one into the ocean. Plenty of that around. And then we can connect a second one up to our water line, essentially providing unlimited water. And then we would be able to turn the burn rate up on our reactor, which would spin this faster, give us more energy. And then if we build 4 in total, or maybe more, so we'd have 2 for water, input, output. And then once we get the induction matrix set up in there, we can have 2 for power. 1 coming out here and going in there, I think is how that would work. We'll have to do some testing. You know what? Maybe I will just go run to the end, or not the end. I'll run to the nether real quick and grab a few obsidian. Yeah, mining obsidian is really not that big of a chore. There we go. 35 should be plenty. And then we will go to here. 1. And the second one with an anchor upgrade as well. Okay, let's see if we can figure this out. And I put this on the very bottom of the seafloor. Right there. And we take care of this guy. Oh, I got another trident from him. Sweet. I think that makes 3. Okay, so let's take a look at this. So frequency, we want to set to water. And it can take in from all the sides, eject water. Okay, it doesn't show that it has any. I don't understand. Do we need to put like a pipe on it or something? Okay. Might have to do some research on this. But I suppose we'll save that for next time. Okay, well, I want to thank you guys so much for watching. This has been a project that has been a long time coming, and we've got a nice rainbow behind us. But finally, we have the monolith in place. Next time, we are going to work on the induction matrix, putting that in. We need to put in a beacon, so we'll have to go after the wither and maybe get started on the SPS chamber. So another big episode next time, but I'm so pleased with how this turned out. But thank you again for watching. The last episode got so many views, which was really awesome. And I just want to thank you guys for watching my videos. So if you enjoyed this, like the video, lets me know that that I can keep doing things like this and that you enjoy it. I'm planning on at least 2 more episodes with Valhelsia and then switching gears a bit. We won't abandon the world here or anything, but just switching things up a little bit. So stay tuned to see how this all turns out. And if you want to get notified, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time. Bye.